Somebody like Mikolaj Oledzki has got all the physical attributes and prowess to be world class, like the best front rower in the league. He's ready to explode.
Here is Oledzki. Oledzki slices through, and Mikolaj Oledzki gets over for the try.
He's just a genetic freak. I've never come across anybody who's as big, as strong, as fast.
He can go as far as he wants in this game because physically he's got everything.
The big plus about Mick is his character, is his humility. Boys love playing with him and love having his his real positive nature in the camp every day.
Mikolaj Oledzki is a huge human being.
Oledzki for the Leeds Rhinos.
If you was to put a character to him, a bit like Aslan from like Richard Wardrobe, because he's a big, fierce lion. But he doesn't see himself like that when he looks in the mirror.
He's a gentleman, he was only a kid at the time, but a gentleman on the field,
No, he's rubbish about that, but with Luna, he's absolutely amazing. You can just see how happy she is, which...
I'd like to say that I do hoover now and then. When we were younger, every summer, we used to spend it all together, all my cousins, and we used to go to like a summer house that my grandparents owned, and there was not much there, but because we were all there together, we always found stuff to do, and if we didn't, my granddad would make us paint the fence, or do some housework. But yeah, we used to love it. I've got great memories from my childhood.
It was really good. We didn't really have a choice because we were too young when we found out that we were moving out to England.
I never really spoke to my parents about why we decided to move, as I was quite young. And
we live in Gdańsk, where I'm born. We moved to the Warsaw, and I've been seaman as well. I spent a lot of time on the sea, and we can't find a place for us.
I think the main one was probably for the opportunities for us kids, to give us a better opportunity to probably excel in sport or academically. We moved over to Corby when I was about 8 years old, and I didn't really know any English, but probably as a young kid I was a bit just getting on with it really, and making the best out of a hard situation. When I started in year 5, I had a translator, a lovely lady. She just kind of went everywhere with me, just followed me everywhere, and she translated everything for me. I've learned how to talk English in 2 years, which I had to, but which is pretty good.
It's just how we've been brought up, to never give up and to just pursue our dreams, and all the adversity that we faced when we first moved, over to England has taught us a lot of life skills as well, and how to manage, in kind of difficult or stressful situations.
As a youngster, I was always into sport, and at about 6 years old, my parents took me to a diving centre in Warsaw, where we lived at that moment in time. It was a 3.5 year spell where, as a junior, I think my parents wanted me to take it quite serious.
First professional is a diving. He been in the Polish champion, and remember probably Czech Republic champion as well. You know what is success about 3-4 years old?
He trained very hard, 2 hours on the mats with gymnastic stuff, after strength stuff, and after water. So 1 hour jumping and jumping and jumping. So, and plus school, and so he haven't time for childhood. He was very good in what he did. So this was like, I think, for him, a very good satisfaction.
Yeah, I managed to springboard my way up the ranks.
Because his mom got a lot of success in the rowing.
I was a multi champion of Poland.
She pushed him every time. Mikolaj don't want to go to training. He goes on to like, you must go, you must go.
I was like soldier. He hate me at this time because I was, you have to. So how many times we drive for training, and he was very upset, and I said, Mom, I would like to go outside and play with kids and have normal life like normal kids. And I said, no, you born to be special and you have to be the best, and this give you very nice life and very good life.
She was a role model when it came to living that career in sport, and being disciplined and training hard. And
as kids, we used to wear her, see her medals whenever she went to championship or competition, and probably that's where my sporting kind of drive, maybe where it was born.
I picked up a rugby ball for the first time. I'm sure I was 13 years old. I think so. And I made my debut when I was 18, so it's been 5 years. As kids, we used to come down here. There's a bike track there, and there's a skate park there, and the football pitch is over there, and the rugby field there. So as kids, we always had something to do. Yeah, I had a skateboard, I had a bike. I think I've tried everything that I could ride in that skate park, and I'm sure I've seen few lads on the motocross bikes and that skate park, so I think there's nothing that skate park can't see. We're at Fernville in Gipton, Fernville Leisure Centre, and this is where I had my first training session with East Leeds. I think we were under 13s, and believe it or not, the pitch was green and it did look a bit more alive than this, but this is where it all started.
It's the afternoon, we're going to the park playing football, and we see that training the rugby, and they've been East Leeds. And Mikolaj asked me that. Maybe I tried the rugby. The next day we're going buy everything, all stuff for the first training.
And that's probably when I realised, I want to give rugby league a go.
So my first memory of him was actually playing against him in a tournament. I think it was just like a 7-a-side tournament, and Mick, being the big giant that he is, he were already a foot taller than everybody then. Talk amongst everyone that there were a big Polish kid coming. And playing against us, because East Leeds were already a top team in my age group. He was just that big giant kid who would just, I don't even think he could speak a word of English at the time. I didn't really have any conversation with him. We were just like the two lads that had really go at it when we was younger.
Whenever we played them, we said, right, we're going for Cam. We're going after Cam, and that was kind of the first time we came together. We went through scholarship together and academy together, and we kind of came through into the first team. Similar time, he was a bit earlier than me.
Yeah, nothing much has changed. He's just developed into a beast.
Lee coached him in 13s and 14s. I coached 15s and 16s. So he had a couple of years under his belt before I started coaching him as well. He was willing to learn. I mean, he asked a lot of questions, to be honest, I remember that.
Like a sponge really, just wanted to absorb it because he was fairly new to the game.
He took balling hard, tackled hard. We kept things simple with him.
The first part of my development, which was, starting to play at East Leeds and Unser, it was basic skills such as passing, catching, and learning the rules.
So I'd like to give you this.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
All the lads' signatures that you played with. I've had it for 6 years, mate. You can keep it for another 6 years.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
Last time it's a shirt you wore.
He was a talent, and he is a talent. That's why he's been successful.
I remember the first time that Mick and his mum and dad walked into the building at Kirkstall Training Academy, because obviously they're big physical people. They've got a presence. Dad, very interested in listening to what we were going to say and what we were, hopefully going to provide for his son in terms of a platform, education, support network. You can see from the way that Mick is, he's very family orientated. He's got his own daughter now, and that forms part of his motivation, like he has seen and followed the example of his mum and dad. But my word, his mum shook my hand and squoze the life out of me. And I was intimidated. I won't mind saying that. But from the minute that Mick joined the rugby league environment, I've seen him thrive.
Right, here we go. Cars versus Leeds at Ellen Road. What a day.
Castleford off to a flying start in the opening 20 minutes. 24-0 up they were.
19 years old here, 20 years old. Nearly a minute to go. Wait. We need a drop goal, and I play it sideways.
No, it's a penalty. He's played the ball facing the sideline. Well, that's it, isn't it?
I have not seen this in a long time. Oh no.
I thought we had a chance to snatch it, and just needed to have a couple of good moments, a couple of nice plays, and Mick, with one of the most fundamental basics, gets up, plays ball wrong way, and you're just like, oh wow.
And after the game, I was probably a bit scared to talk to Brian Mack, but he said if I don't get anything wrong, how can he coach me? So I was pretty surprised that he didn't scream at me, but yeah, it was a big learning curve, and it hasn't happened again since, touch wood.
you can't get angry with somebody like Mick for too long. You know, it's all part of the learning. And listen, he'd go 10,000 miles, mate, if he had to make that little silly little mistake up, and he has done. And listen, we'll benefit from it as a club tenfold.
We used to have this joke in the academy that whoever we played, sometimes you'd say, "Wow, look at the size of him," and we'd all be looking at Mick thinking, "Mickey, you bonkers, you're 6'4", 110 kilo, and you're probably his fastest player as well."
He's a bit of a natural born worrier in that he can sometimes let a mistake affect him, and I think that's one of the big strides in his game is one is his attention to detail is a lot better. Two, he's gaining in confidence about game time and minutes and playing under fatigue. We feel sometimes he can convince himself he's tired when actually he's not, and we feel he's getting really the other side of that now. If you look this year, he played 80 minutes against Wigan.
I always want to get everything right, and I try to get everything perfect, but the truth is I can never get it perfect, right? So Rich and Longy have been trying their best to kind of get me in a mindset where I can, if I do something something wrong, I can drop and move on, and I'm getting to a point where I've got a good mindset of whatever happens, move on to the next job.
Given the golden generation that we saw, that itself is very unique for such a core of players to carry a club to so much success over an extended period of time. I think when we look back on the game and the history of the game, I think we'll realise that is a golden generation and doesn't happen that much.
Such greats left the club, JP, Kev, Rob, Magsy, they've left the club, and we sort of not had the weight on his shoulders that the club's always got to be great.
I don't know how people can call us a transition team. We won the Challenge Cup last year, so yeah, it's a bit frustrating, but this year hopefully we'll turn it around and we'll start making our way back to the top, and people won't, that transition term won't be flying about anymore, hopefully.
I feel like me and Mick are the sort of, I won't say, obviously we're not senior players, but we're sort of the eldest of the crop now. And how cool would it be to be able to sit down and have an interview or tell our story of how it's gone, and hopefully we've gone in to get the Rhinos back where they need to be.
We are conscious of trying to build something that we'll put in place for a long time. So while we're doing it tough at the moment, but we're looking at good players, but guys with terrific attitudes. So we look at people like Mick. One of his best mates is Cameron Smith, who has got very different traits as a player, but very similar attributes as a human being. We've got another guy called Tommy Olroyd, who unfortunately has been injured at the moment. We've got a guy called Morgan Gannon coming through, and Sam Walters and Jared O'Connor are on the fringe of that. So we think we've got a core of a pack that once they've learnt, got the experience, got that sort of 50, 60, 70 games under the belt, which Mick has. Spent a couple of seasons alongside guys like Tetabano and Pryor. We think that is the next generation, and the quality of those players, and as they are as human beings and individuals, are all guys that can carry this club forward a long way. Throwing you Harry Newman's, probably Ash Hanley's not out of that category just yet. Jack Walker when he gets back.
With characters like Mick, God willing, mate, he'll be here in 10, 15 years' time, watching another young kid like him come through and having those memories to be able to empower him to impress the basics on the next generation as well.
I've told him countless times this year that we want to get into that England squad together. We want to play in World Cups together. Whatever the top is, we want to be there.
It was a nice surprise. I just want to kind of play my best rugby, play well consistently, and I know at the end of the year if that that happens and that falls into place, kind of that will help me with getting into England squad and hopefully getting a cap. At the moment, I just want to concentrate on playing well consistently.
My lad playing for the England Knights, maybe will be playing for the first team. Wow.
It's like my dream. This is my dream. And his dream as well.
To do what he has in such a short space of time is just incredible.
I can't wait to see where he's going to take himself, where his zenith, where the heights of his potential are going to take him, having seen where he's come from as a young kid. For me, it's a really gratifying story.
If he's doing what he's doing now at 22-year-old, it'll be frightening to see what he's like when he's in his elder years and he knows everything there is to know about the game.
He could be here for the entirety of his career, and how special would that be from a lad from Gdansk?